Good official morning, everybody. Welcome to kind of today's vlog. It's a little complicated. I already have content created, but I was in a different mental state, different space, everything else in between that you can possibly think of. So I just never posted these contents. Over the weekend, I didn't have the boys, so I went through, and if you guys are watching this now, you already know that I actually posted 3 videos already by the time you guys are watching this. Anyway, long story short, I kind of wanted to talk about the video that I'm going to be posting coming up here. Well, actually it's going to be this video here. I went through a lot mentally, physically, well, not physically. I went through a lot mentally and then also financially. I'm not completely broke. I just make really, really good financial decisions. I'm not living in a massive house. My electricity bill is very, very, very low. And on top of that, I don't eat out. I don't eat out with the kids. I don't eat out with myself. Anyway, so I have content created. Wasn't sure if I was going to post or not at that point, only because one, I've just been drowning. Mind you, if somebody else was to hear this, which most likely they are, it'd be like, well, you chose to leave, which absolutely 100% I did choose to leave. And I'm not saying that like in a boastful way. I chose to leave because simply because I wasn't happy. And I wasn't going to raise 3 boys in this world for them to know or to accept the fact that if you're unhappy, you got to troop it through for the kids' sake, or the fact that that's what the Bible says, because that's what my family believed and stuff. Anyway, I really am trying to get to the point. So here's what goes on and this is going off of how I'm struggling financially with like the kids and stuff, right? So verbal promises made of, yeah, go ahead and take them back to school shopping. One of the twins, Silas, he's not as expensive, right? And I'll pay you back. The boys even hear these conversations only because I do hold other people accountable, and I want the boys to know how much I struggle and how much I make ends meet for them. Vocalize to them like, mommy has to do this on her own and I just need your help. So they've been stepping up only because they see the struggles that I go through. I don't have anybody to watch my kids. So we just plug in and we try to help when we can, and they see me just physically struggle, still trying to make this point, and I'm kind of all over the place. So my apologies, just bear with me. Anyway, so I have, text messages. So here you go with this right here stating that you're going, the blah, blah, blah. You guys can pause the video and read it. So basically this is stating X, Y, and Z. I also have phone calls stating that, hey, you have time to do this, this, and this. However, you still didn't do it. And then of course, like this portion right here. They were out for over 2 months from school. You've gone deep sea fishing. You've done so many things. Have you seen his shoes, the Adidas that he was going to wear?
Well, when I was going to go take him shopping, it just didn't work out, okay? And I don't need shit about it.
No, I'm not giving you shit about it. This is our kids. Like, you can't do that.
You're
his
right.
shoes had holes in them, and you had over 2 months to do it. I don't know what made the person stop in their tracks and not blame me for it, but court order says that this day and this day, the child, all 3 of the boys are yours, period, no matter what. So arrange for you to be able to take the children to do whatever kind of shopping, whatever kind of entertainment, whatever kind of chores, whatever you want to do on those days. And then this, and this every other weekend, basically, every other weekend, you have them 100% of the time. So might you have wanted to take the children back to school shopping, you would have already done it. So the blame on me was great that it was stopped, because you still have time to be able to do it on your own time, because the court order says that you have custody of the children those days. But my favorite part, let me have you guys listen to this portion right here.
Well, I can't even pay my bills, Roselynn. So
then you don't need to live in the house that you own. You live in a big ass house.
Have a nice day.
I can barely afford to pay my bills on my own. However, you live in a 3,600 square foot home. Got it. Actually 26. I don't even remember. It's definitely not 895 square foot like the one I'm living in at the moment. And so you're going to tell me that you can't afford your own bills in a home that you're clearly are living in that you can't even afford. And that's your excuse for you to not be able to give me money for half, just like literally shoes and t-shirts and whatever it may be from freaking Cat and Jack. What store is that? Anyway, so that's where I'm coming from. So this is the clips and pieces of the video. There's so much more. I'm not going to put the whole conversation on here just because I don't feel like it's relevant or necessary, but this is what I've been having to deal with. And this is all in between me having to come into work, which I'm grateful for. At least I have a job. But it's like, you guys can tell in this video, as I'm going to kind of roll out that content, how much mentally I have to just deal with and go through. And mind you, I don't have much of an outlet, because my outlets happen to be like our mutual friends. And I love our mutual friends, but I don't want to put them in the middle of any of that stuff. So I've kind of gone through this. Anyway, watch this video, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I just wanted to jump on here and kind of explain my end of it and what I'm going through. That was in August. Right now we're in November. Boy, have I come a long way, only because I've been like listening to podcasts, and I've been journaling and doing a whole bunch of different things. And I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm not just crying every single day. Don't be surprised if all the crying and stuff is coming back, because we have something related to court in November, which is this month. And then we are actually, I'll touch bases on it a little bit later, we're going to trial. I think the tears and all of that is going to be coming soon, which sucks, because like, okay, I'll cover all of that in another video because there's so much. Anyway, let's roll this on to the content that was created a couple months ago. Maybe, just maybe, I should not have been at work when I made this phone call. But realistically, if I'm not at work, I have the kids, so I'm just better off crying at work, knowing that I had to finance shoes for my kid, because somebody would rather go deep sea fishing than buy their son shoes. But the sad thing is, he knows good and well that I'm actually going to do it, because I'll be damned if my son goes to school with shoes that have holes in them. Like, go get a second job, bro. So that was my co-parenting partner telling me that he's not going to help pay for the kids back to school. I think you got out of the video what I needed you to get out of the video, instead of me having to explain it. Now, let's go rewind a little bit more to my reaction after I got off the phone, which was probably 5 minutes later when I came back in the office after I was done shaking and crying. I thought I was fine. I came back. I'm so grateful that I work with family, and only my family can see the pathetic reasons why I cry. It's just ridiculous. So let's rewind. This is me trying to gather my thoughts and speak. And here we are now. So welcome to today's vlog. Anyway, so I don't have the boys. They are actually at their dad's house. He has custody of them. We're really, really strict with custody. Honestly, he's only asked me to watch them for one consecutive week when it was his week, and then he also asked me if we would trade weeks, and I told him no, because we strictly stick to our court order arrangement that we both agreed with, and then the mediator signed off on it just because it worked best for us. But that little bit of clip that you might have caught or not caught, where I was getting the blame for him not being able to take the kids back to school shopping, I don't even know where that conversation was going, because realistically, he's never asked me if he can have the kids to take them shopping, nor for any reason like entertainment or anything like that. And mind you, neither have I. We just, again, stick to our schedule. But anyway, the kids are back to school. I ended up buying Malachi shoes, and I've kind of talked about this here and there in the vlogs of back to school shopping and purchasing things for one twin and then the other parent doing it for the other. And I already knew this was going to happen, and at the end of the day, I'm glad that I financed the back to school shopping, because like I was saying, I can't really afford it. I'm in a different mental space now that I was in, actually not even 3 minutes ago, probably even like an hour and a half ago, and I'm grateful for that. The unfortunate thing is that now I have a headache. If I get a headache, when I cry, I get a headache. When I get a headache, I lose my appetite. When I lose my appetite, then I have no energy, I won't eat, and then when I don't eat, then I get sick. It's just like a domino effect, and it freaking drives me crazy, and I've been like this my whole life, and I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. But anyway, I just thought, let's just start vlogging, and then I'll have money to be able to purchase the kids back to school clothes, and I won't even have to ask them for money. So that's where my train of thought came of, screw this shit, screw this crap, I'm just gonna start vlogging. And if it's throwing somebody under the bus, because it's the reality and it's the truth, then so be it. And that's where I am. If y'all like this type of content, keep watching and keep just supporting me, because it's going to get some bills paid, and it's going to get some shoes purchased. When I was first going through all my bullshit with like this divorce and stuff, I really wasn't going to like surface a lot of things and expose like my own life out there. I gave it some time, and then the reality of it is, you guys, I was in the wrong. I left my marriage. I was 100% in the wrong. But the other part that I kind of covered here and there, although I was in the wrong, I didn't want to continue to stay in the marriage, even though that was an option. That had already happened before, and I continued to stay in the marriage. And then like a couple years later, we had Silas, and the next thing you know, we were married for 12 years. So yes, I made bad decisions, and I had options of continuing to stay, but the reality of it is, you guys, it was not just the outside picture. And I think that anybody that's going through anything, like, just and the ones that are keeping it to themselves, they see lives like mine, and when things surface, you still only see a little portion of it. And I think that's what happened with a lot of my life being on social media. Everybody just saw like a little portion of it, and that's what made it hard, or even harder for me to have to exit the situation that I was in. It's just the things that I deal with now, I don't necessarily have to deal with it. When I don't have the kids, I just go home to my own peace of quiet that cost a lot of money every single month, because now I have to pay all my bills on my own versus before where it was shared. But I have a peace of mind, and I don't argue, and I don't fight with anybody, and I'm forever grateful for that. I'm just trying to think if this video was kind of all over the place, but long story short, I asked the kid's dad if I can have the money that he promised me for one of the twins, not even Silas's, but that was my nephew. He makes fun of me when I'm vlogging. If I can have money for the back to school shopping for one of the kids, and as he promised in front of the kids that he was going to give me, and he basically said no, because he gives me $200 a month in child support, but he has money to go deep sea fishing. So anyway, that was that. I called him back to continue talking to him, because adults don't hang up on people, right? But apparently we do. So I got a voicemail. So then I sent a text, and then after I sent the text, we sent some really mean texts to each other, and then I needed a moment, and I got my moment. And then after that, I sent him this message. So here's a screenshot of that, and I didn't receive any reply back. So I'm at peace with myself now, because when I lay my head on my pillow tonight, I'm going to be at peace, because I didn't end our conversation on a rough standing. I got off of work, came home, took a shower, and I decided that I'm not going to let a dang thing in the world ruin my evening. So I got my Chinese food left over from yesterday, and I'm gonna go in my friend's backyard, and we're gonna listen to good music, and I'm gonna laugh my rear end off, and I'm going to end my evening beautifully, because I'll be damned if I let little things like buying my son a pair of shoes ruin my goddamn day. I'm gonna do what I can. I'm just gonna hustle harder, and I'll figure it out, just like I told my kids' dad, because he's sitting over here saying he doesn't have money to do this, and this. Well, he has money to go deep sea fishing, like I was telling him in the conversation that I was having with him, or lack thereof. I said, well, maybe you should start selling the fish that you go deep sea fishing for, and the crab. Maybe that'll do you a little bit of good. And you know what, y'all? I'm gonna take my own advice. I'm gonna make more content. Good official morning, you guys. It is definitely the next day. Whew, yesterday was a good one for me. I just often will go to bed at night and reflect on like how my day was, and after I came back from my friend's house, I was an emotional roller coaster. I hate being negative, and I hate being mean, and I hate being mean to people that meant something to me and still mean something to me. So anyway, long story short, I'm glad yesterday's behind me, and today is a brand new day. But when I was reflecting on it yesterday when I got home, I mean, I got text messages like, how was the Airbnb? How was Pismo? I heard you got Malachi's skimboard. Like, not I heard, he goes, Pismo skimboard, Airbnb, something like that. He goes, I guess it was fun. And I said some really unkind things. Like, I said, yeah, thanks. It was with the child support money. I had no business talking like that to him. But it was out of anger, and I wish I didn't do that, because this is coming from a person that goes to church. So my last text message that I wrote back kind of helped me. I like reread it, and it helped me kind of sleep at night. But it was still in the back of my mind, because I was being a very, very mean, and I just don't want to be that type of person. But the reality of it is that, yeah, I bought Malachi a skimboard, but for me, it came from a place of, like, his birthday's coming up in October, obviously, Jonah's too. His birthday's coming up in October, and the boys are getting to a point where I have no idea what to buy them for anything, like for birthdays, Christmas, anything at all, just because they're getting older and they pretty much have everything. So, and then they have cell phones, they have VRs that their dad bought them for Christmas last year, which is an amazing purchase, but the VR was worth more than the VR was more expensive than the skimboard that I bought Malachi. And I never sat there and said anything about the fact that, oh, you bought him VRs for Christmas. It's whatever you can do for the child if they want it versus if they need it. And I was just thinking to myself, and this is just me justifying it, and this is what helped me go to sleep better at night. I was just saying to myself, okay, and I told Malachi this. I was like, Bubba, this is going to be your birthday present. And realistically, like, what's the point of me waiting until October to buy him a skimboard when I can buy him a skimboard now and he can actually use it at the beach? So I didn't justify any of that with their dad. I just was like, yeah, thanks for the child support. And I can't wait for the alimony to kick in. And when I like go back on those conversations, they were text messages, which obviously the phone call was terminated, and I even tried to call back and that didn't go anywhere. But I just wish that I didn't have that mean of a comeback deep down inside, because it's not kind and it's not me. I will tell you that, like, when I used to go to church consistently, like their father does, and he actually serves in the ministry still at a different church, I had a different side of me that would, like, pretty much bite my tongue if things like that happened. I wouldn't come out and, like, be bitter or angry towards really anybody, let alone him. Not as much, but now, since I don't go to church as often as I should, and mainly because I'm just lazy and I'm tired Sunday morning because I chose to, like, go out or do whatever, I feel like hurtful and angry words come out of my mouth a little bit faster than it normally would have. So I'm gonna check myself and try to just think before I speak, because this ugly part of me came out and I did not like it. But anyway, today's another day. Like I said, I wanted to end this vlog. It was probably all over the place, and all it had to do with was the fact that I was not given financial support for back to school shopping for my boys, again, for the third year in a row. So yay, Roselynn. I guess for the fourth year, hopefully I'll be in a better financial situation. Hopefully the home that we both own together is going to actually be sold, and I'm not going to continue to be, like, donating money to my lawyer, forcing him to move out of the house that we both own, that he 100% thinks that he has full rights to be able to stay there. So I don't know, hopefully I'll be in a different financial situation next year when it's back to school shopping time. So that's that. It kind of feels good to open up, because you guys have been through my whole journey of just, like, honestly, I don't even remember how old the twins were. I know that Silas was walking already, so maybe when Silas was 1. So I've been vlogging for 8 years now, give or take. But you guys have been through a good chunk of it, and a lot of the negative hasn't really been surfaced. But at the end of the day, I'm just, I don't know, it feels good to be able to put it out here, just for me to not keep it bottled up inside. Yeah, I have friends and stuff that I can listen to and stuff, but I do get a lot of support. My Instagram is often flooded with just positive DMs and stuff, and if it's negative, I just erase it and I move on, because this is my platform and I'm not going to allow negativity. But at the same time, I'm just, I don't know, it feels good to be able to just say things out loud, and then really honestly to have it documented for my own sake, because I go back and I watch old videos of myself when I was married, and I look and I'm like, dang girl, you were not happy. Like the amount of acne that I had from the stress that I went through, I wasn't glowing, I wasn't happy. And especially towards like the end of my marriage and when I was thinking of filing for divorce, you can tell like I was in the thick of it, but nobody knew that. I can tell that I've mentally come a long way, and I'm grateful for that. But man, the challenges that I've gone through has kind of like been hell and back, and I'm grateful for where I am today. I'm grateful for all the support you guys continue to give me. If you guys have gone through something like this or are going through something like this, if you have any advice for me and you don't want people to publicly see it, just DM me on Instagram. Here's my Instagram. But hopefully this type of video is supportive and encouraging, and you don't really realize that behind closed doors what people go through. And even though, like I've said this yesterday, I think, even though I chose to not be in this marriage, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to continue to find ways to support all three of the kids that I have a parent with, you know what I mean? So anyway, hopefully you guys are doing the best you can. I'm definitely doing the best I can. I'm going to be taking it down a notch as far as like making memories and stuff like that, because had I known that I was going to do all of this financial back to school shopping burden on my own, I definitely would not have gone to Pismo. But the reality of it is I did go to Pismo with my Christmas bonus from 3 years ago that I have not used. So I was able to book like the cheapest, most smallest Airbnb, so I wouldn't have to drive 4.5 hours back home, and my boys would be able to enjoy 2 days at the beach. The Christmas bonus that I received, and which was the one Christmas bonus that I received, was the year that I moved out. And the only thing that I bought with that Christmas bonus was mixed tile, and I just kept that money for a rainy day. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna need like new tires in my car, maybe I'll get a flat, or maybe my windshield will get a chip in it. So I kind of saved it for a rainy day. And then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? There hasn't really been rainy days. So that's how I went to Pismo. I saved money. I didn't use money that I could have used for stupid reasons. I just chose to spend it on my children, is how I paid for my Pismo trip. Not that it needs to be justified. And then on top of that, the boys have like birthday money. Jonah even said that he was going to be able to donate some of his money that he has earned throughout his life to be able to help his brother get the skimboard that he really, really wanted. So the reality of it is that I do what I can to be able to save money, to be able to, like, I don't spend my money on things just for me. Like, yeah, I bought mixed tile photos in my house, and I paid for my photographer to take pictures, which she gave me an epic deal, which was our family photographer through my maternity and all of that stuff. But I made good decisions to be able to make sure that the money that I have becomes our money, which includes the boys' money, to be able to go on trips like Pismo and stuff. So the fact that it was kind of like used against me, it hurt a little bit, but at the same time, deep down inside, I know that the reasons why we celebrated what we celebrated and what we, like the end of summer, and the reasons why we do what we do is because of my frugality. I think that's a word. And I'm always going to be grateful for that, because my daddy taught me that and my mama taught me that, and I'm happy with that, and I'm not going to apologize for it. So anyway, that's all. That's a lot of talking. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Welcome to Roselyn's Drama. You guys have a great day. We'll see you next time.